Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on again? This is your boy, Tommy Knowles, here with
Devon Armstrong
and Carlos the Taylor.
And you know why we're here. You know why we're here. We're here to give you another dose of that good medicine. This is actually part 2 of episode 3 for Good Medicine. And so, gentlemen, let's not delay. Let's hop right into the first dose.
Let's do it.
So we were having a conversation, about our own personal kind of idiosyncrasies. That's a jaw-breaking word for me.
Yeah.
It's our own personal way that we do things and how we view the world. And so one of the things that we talked about is social interaction. Now, I know for me, I actually consider myself to be a social introvert. Like, I'm not fully introverted, but I definitely have some introverted tendencies. To the point to where socializing and interacting with people fatigues me. Like, it literally makes me tired. Even with my own family, man, to be honest, like, I know that me being the primary person in my house, in my household, that everybody pulls on me in many different ways. And so I have to make myself available to be able to interact with my wife and with my daughter and my son. But they also know and understand me enough to a point to where they know when it's time for daddy to pull away. And when daddy has pulled away into his zone, that to give daddy his time or opportunity to come out of his zone, and everything's all right. And Chris is, my wife especially, she understands me to a point to where she'll tell me, "Oh, you need to go sit in the corner somewhere." You know what I'm saying? Because your disposition is not where it needs to be. So go get yourself together.
Yeah.
And then once you get together, come back. Yeah. So it caused me to develop a question. And I'm going to ask you guys, how important is it to interact?
Well, I found out. Well, I really didn't. I never really thought that it was an issue. As far as like, it seems like in the medical field, your ability to interact socially successfully has some determinants on how your health is. Because when I was in rehab, I didn't know that for the first 2 weeks I didn't know I was being graded. So they gave you a grade every week on your ability to socialize, and that grade determined your stay. So for the first 2 weeks, I was just trying to get used to being where I was. I didn't have a desire to interact. I kind of felt like because I'm here to get better than to get out. So it didn't occur to me that being social was a part of the situation. Like, I could talk to my people that are my therapists all day long because I had to, I should. But to interact with other patients, I didn't have a desire to do that. And so once I found out I was being graded, it's like, okay, now I have to, because if I want to get out of here, I got to do it now.
Yeah.
So I had to make myself find ways to start conversation with people. Like, okay, if you know me, you know that I like to joke. I do. But really and truly, if you people who know me like very, very closely know I'm very cool with being by myself. Yeah. I spend a lot of time by myself, and in fact, I think I'm so funny. I tell jokes in my head, I laugh at them. I do. I laugh to myself and my jokes in my head. So, but once I learned that, okay, like to get out, and then I thought too that the only reason they grade me on this because it does have implications on my mental health even, and that's the part of my whole wellness, the whole wellness thing. So I thought, okay, not only do I need to do this to get out of here, but if it has implications on my whole self, I need to make myself venture out and do this. And I can do this. I can do this. I am good at conversation. I can do this. But I did find it stressful to have to make myself start conversations. I didn't like doing it. I did it, but I didn't like doing it. I never was comfortable with that.
I still don't.
Yeah.
I'm still not a big conversation starter, unless the threshold or that barrier that keeps me from being able to start a conversation with you has already been broken down. So like with you two, or people that are close to me, or people that I know or I see on a regular basis, it's not that difficult for me to start conversation with them, especially if there is a purpose to the conversation.
Yeah.
Now, small talk, I absolutely despise.
It's a pain in the neck, man.
Yeah, man. Please don't small talk. It's like a necessary evil almost. It's like needles.
Yeah.
I got to get the medicine in me, but I got to do the pain of the stick in order to get it. It's.
I tend to, I guess if I had to classify myself as far as small talk is concerned, I'm a good closer. Like I don't really like small talk that much, so I give a one line closer to make it stop. So if somebody, so
I need to develop that.
Yeah, I'm gonna close. So people might come to me and say, when you greet people, they say, "What's going on, man? You got it." So normally they say, "You got it." That opens up conversation, right? Mm-hmm. But to make I don't want to talk anymore, they say, "What's up, man? You got it." I say, "If I got it, I better find a cure for it."
So you just throw the whole conversation off.
I throw it off. Let's throw it off. Let's throw it right off.
So the person you talking was like, what?
What? Right. What? I don't want to talk no more. Right. That's it. I shut down. I'm a good closer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I need to be. I'm gonna borrow that one. Don't ask me how's the weather. How you think the weather is? You're experiencing it the same way I am. It angers me, man. Yeah. I can't stand small talk.
Yeah. When people say, "Oh, I'm feeling under the weather," I look up and I say, "Aren't we all?"
That's right.
Close it, man. Close it.
For me, I'm also an introvert. I grew up an only child. That's the natural place, Just I found a way to entertain myself. Found a way to be by myself, and that's what I'm used to. Now I say I'm an extroverted introvert because I do like being around people. I like hanging around with my friends. Preferably a small group,
Definitely.
If you're in
I hate large groups of people.
Being in a large group. I was reminded today, in fact, being in a large group is just like, it's very draining because it's like, all right, time to go.
Definitely, man. If anybody understands you, I know I do.
Man. Yeah. So on the same token, it's like I want to interact. I guess I'm like Paul. I don't find it in me to do it. I find not that social butterfly in me. Because it's like, and I want to be like I like to, I guess I have a bad habit or sometimes a good habit of pleasing people, and like being on people's good sides. Yeah. But that's mainly for the sake of, being on their good side means that they won't bother me.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Or I kind of had the same affinity. Like I want people to be pleased with me.
Yeah.
But if making you upset with me would get me the result of you leaving me alone, then I reconcile that. And so it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm okay with you being mad at me because now I don't have to deal with you. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, but then eventually at some point, because I believe it's the Christ in me and the love that I have in my heart, I eventually want to repair that relationship, and that definitely conflicts with the flesh side of me that is very much okay with being in my own little world as long as I have the people that I care about in good standing with me, if that makes sense.
And that's the thing, the gospel in me, the Christ in me wars with me every day, especially in the vein of like, for example, when I went to college, that's when I really got into the witnessing ministry. Or, just going around campus to share the gospel with people.
Right, yeah.
And as me and my friend agreed, like, when we would do it, man, let's just, like, you would dread it. He's like, you just hope it would rain that day or something. Because that way we would cancel it. We wouldn't have to go out and do it.
Go out,
But, it's just that the fire burning in you is like, I know I got to share this. But it's just like, I hate it.
In those moments when the fire overcomes. That personal urge where you're actually able to build up the confidence enough to go out there and do it.
And so you also got to think about the fact, like, as a parent, like, how do I model to my kids that it's important to be social at some juncture? So like my oldest, he's very social. Like, he's very outgoing. He doesn't go in like this guy walk in the room and say, "Hi, my name is," in a second, no problem. my other kid is more like he'll walk in the room and I let him look at you. You know, I'm in the room. I can't do what I'm going to do. It doesn't. What I'm going to do doesn't involve you. Yeah. But if you come over and say, "Hey, you want to play?" We can. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to be the one to do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to initiate.
Yeah, I'm not going to initiate. So I
feel him.
So I had to. So, but you know, in this society, and as it's going, and I feel like for the benefit of their development as productive members of society, they both have to have the wherewithal to be able to start a conversation and stop it. That's why I model for them. That's why I take my kids, when I go to meetings, I take my kids to meetings. When my kids were really small, it was nothing to see me with my kids as babies with a diaper bag, one on my hip and one holding my hand into a real meeting to hear conversation between adults. Mm-hmm. So now they're older, they're still small, but they're older. But now when they are approached by people, adults and such, they can have conversations.
They can hold a conversation.
Yeah, they can do it. Yeah. They know how it goes. It's been patted to them even before they can even talk. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you gave them an early lesson in code switching.
I did.
Yeah. So it's man, it gets bad with me though, man. Like, because me being in the profession that I'm in, and even when I was in high school, man, I was what you would consider popular, and so I held leadership positions in the school. Was very smart, graduated top of my class, and I was likable. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I knew how to interact with people in a pleasant way to where they would, I would be held in high esteem among most people. Yeah. And so as a result of that, in high school, college, and even at my job, I meet a lot of people. I know a lot of people, so I'm well connected. But I very much so believe in keeping my personal and my professional life separate.
Yeah.
So if I run into somebody who I interact with on a professional standard in a personal arena, like grocery store, you understand what I'm saying? Like, when I'm in a grocery store with my family, that's personal.
Yeah.
It's different if I'm in a grocery store by myself, like on my way to work or doing work hours or fresh off work or something like that, and I see somebody that I work with. But it makes me very uncomfortable when people at work talk about, man, we should get together, go have a few drinks, or go to lunch or something like that. It makes me extremely uncomfortable. Like, you don't fit into the equation with me after work hours. Now, if we're going on a work lunch,
that's
and
it.
all of our colleagues are there, then we can go. We're gonna interact. I know it's a set amount of time limit. And I know that we're not going to exceed that. And once that's over, that experience is over. But as far as us interacting personally,
well, you can't foresee the end.
And I don't. It's almost like I'm breaking up with you before we start dating. Like, look, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. But I don't see you in that way. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't actually say it. So when I'm in public places and I see people who I know or who I think I know, some people will walk up and they were like, "Man, aren't you so?" That's never me. It's like, unless you're a famous person, who I might want an autograph or a picture with. And I've been in those type of situations where I was like, man, that's so and so over there. That is so and so. And then I go the other way. You know what I'm saying? Because I truly believe in treating others how you want to be treated. And I wouldn't want anybody coming up to me if I was famous saying, "Hey man, take pictures." Man, that would burn me out. So I'm there's only been a handful of times where I've actually done that, and I've waited until the actual last moment. Like, this opportunity is about to slip away. I'll never get it again. Let me go ahead and step out there and try to get it. That actually happened to me one time. I was working a football game as an administrator, and we were playing Oak Grove out of Hattiesburg. And at the time, Brett Favre had just retired. He was actually the offensive coordinator for their football team. So, we play Oak Grove this week. They coming to us, and they're like, so the news was not that we were playing Oak Grove, but that Brett Favre is coming with Oak Grove into town for the football game. And so, just like celebrity fashion, they come in on their charter bus. He pulls up in his sports car or whatever behind the charter bus. He gets out. And so I'm on the opposite side because they're the visitor and just kind of watching the whole game like, man, I got a prime opportunity if I want you to go over there and meet Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And so the whole game goes on. I never go over there. You understand what I'm saying? He coaching on the sideline, being himself, whole deal. And so finally at the end of the game, you know, when both teams shake hands in the middle of the field, the coaches came out to shake hands. He came out with the coaches to shake hands and whatnot. And so I was like, man, I can get out there in that line. Yeah. And so it just so happened that once everybody was breaking off, one of our coaches was actually standing there talking to him because he knew Brett from before he was Brett. And so he stood there just long enough for me to walk up and get introduced. Hey, this is my administrator, And he actually initiated, was like, oh, hey, man, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Yeah. Can I get a picture? You know, and I think somebody else took the picture, so I don't even have the picture. I just could say, you know, but that speaks to the type of person I am as far as being very not socially, like social interaction is a necessity to me more so than it is something that I just thoroughly enjoy. Now, I can do it. Yeah. And if you didn't know that about me, then you would never know that me sitting here talking to you is killing me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm literally dying on the inside to the point where I need to go, you know, after a certain amount of time and recharge. If my phone on my desk rings too many times, I turn it down. Because it's like people are pulling on me. You know, even though I hadn't even talked to those people, the fact that the phone is ringing and I feel obligated to talk to them, it's pulling on me, and I'm like, I just don't have it. So if I ever get in a situation where I've been interacting with people too long and I reach my threshold, but I can't go and recharge, then I turn into an ugly person.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
So then I started to take my frustrations out on you, and you don't have really anything to do with it. So I kind of I have to force, you know, recharges. Otherwise, it's going to ruin that whole customer service.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
That's why my last job, which was heavily involved in talking with people via email or on the phone, that's why I'm not working. That's a big reason why I'm not working there anymore. It wasn't really a slight on the place. It's just the position. I'm like, I need to get in a place where I can just work on my stuff, on the artwork, and not have to interact with people. You know, I mean, not ever interact with people, but it's just like, well, that's not the main thing.
I would like to be able to choose.
Exactly.
When I interact with people.
Well, that's funny. Like when I was in high school, I was not the interactive type. I was very introverted.
Really?
I didn't want to talk. I was the classic art kid.
Oh, wow.
I drew and I knew. You know, I could beat your class. I could draw, and that's all I did. It was hip hop and drawing. That was it. So I was very much to myself. But then I worked at a restaurant. I was a cook even. So I knew as a cook, I don't talk to nobody.
Right.
I'm in the back. You know, I don't talk to nobody. So, but then something in me said, I need a situation where I have to talk. I need to learn what it's like to interact. I need something to give me customer service. So I sought out a job in retail. So when I got that job, you know, that's all.
That's all interaction. Yeah.
It was a challenge for me.
That's how you make your money.
Yeah.
Right.
In retail.
Yeah, I know.
You know, especially if you sell a car.
Yeah, right.
Be able to talk to people.
So once I got in the retail game, I enjoyed it. It amazed me how I could have a small conversation with somebody and they buy a whole bunch of stuff just by small talk and by being able to use it well. So that turned over a new leaf for me. So by the time I got to college, it was my last year of high school. I started working retail. So I transitioned over into college. When I got to college, the only job I had was retail jobs. So I enjoyed it so much because the more I was interacting, the more I would be moved up in my position and stuff like that, the more they entrusted in me because I was capable. So there was no retail job I didn't have after that, but that made me be the front person. Welcome you in, you know, I became that person. But it's funny because, like you said, at the end of the day when I got off, I was so tired. You know, because I was sunshine the whole day. I was sunshine for like 8 hours. It's like, you know, I need alone time. So I go home Not even turn the radio on, just to go home in silence.
Yeah. I think it created issues with me on the dating front. As well, because famously, and I can honestly say this, that my wife is the only female who I ever approached in dating. Mm-hmm. Like I approached you, that makes it kind of adds to the aura of you're special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know that you're special because I approached you.
Right.
You approached me.
You got me to come way over here.
Yeah. All the other girls that I've dated, they approached me like in some way, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
They ended up breaking the ice to generate conversation with me because they were interested. Now that didn't mean that I was not interested in them, but I wasn't my urge of interest wasn't heavy enough to overcome the barrier of me not wanting to interact socially with you.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. And I've always been that way. And then when I had friends who I would question, like, how are you able to get girls?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But now, looking back, I can tell the reason why they were is because they knew how to talk to women.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? Like they knew they had an art of small talk to get to create or break down barriers to allow women to become interested in them that I just was never willing to perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like I had game now. Yeah. I knew how to get certain results that I wanted to get.
Yeah.
But I had to deal with the barrier first.
Yeah.
And so if the female did me the pleasure, if you will, or if she assisted in helping to break down that barrier, then game on.
Yeah,
but if I couldn't get past the barrier with you, not because of you, like there was no such thing as you too beautiful out of my league and anything like that. It was just simply I don't like interacting with people like that. Mm-hmm. And so it would be very uncomfortable, which would cause me to come off as awkward. Trying to overcome that barrier in order to put myself out there
it's
as
like
available to you.
It's like eating a banana.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to work. I gotta peel this thing.
Right. Orange.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I love oranges.
Right, me too.
But
it's work.
I hate getting into them.
I do not buy them because they be sitting there. I'm like, man, it's too much work to try to peel it.
I know it is. Yeah.
That's why I love those little, what they call them?
The cuties.
The cuties.
Yeah.
Because you...
Nice and easy.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice and easy. You can almost pop them out.
That's why they cute.
That's right. They're the easy ones.
Let's talk about sports. I don't think we ever talked about sports. We haven't talked about sports on the podcast. And naturally, guys, you know what we can really talk about. It's the only news that matters right now in the world of sports.
JaVale McGee.
Right. JaVale McGee not signing with the two-time champion, the recent champion Warriors. No, of course not. What we want to talk about is LeBron James leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think as we all kind of expected. You can come in close now, Carl.
Yeah. It's safe now.
It's safe. You can even get some strawberries now. But the fact that he actually left the Cleveland Cavaliers and decided to go to the Lakers, which I think kind of, without everybody knowing, kind of expected it to happen. So let's just kind of go around the table, man. And Carlos, since you hadn't spoken for the last 20 minutes, let's get your take on what's your take on this whole LeBron situation in general? What's your reaction?
Well, now that my voice is working,
now your voice button.
Yeah, it was so missing.
Oh my gosh.
Well, to that, it makes me think about I wonder how in the world of sports, in the world of sports, do you look to your peers when it seems like every time you're unhappy, you change over. When you go somewhere else, like for example, how like people were really going crazy when Kyrie left. But I mean, I think personally he left for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. So I've heard people have all these different opinions about what LeBron did and all this kind of stuff. They had all their opinions about when he went to Cleveland, when he went back to Cleveland. And now this LA thing, it's like, so I'm just curious about how his peers see him by doing that. Mm-hmm. It's like, when I think about LeBron, it's like I just envision a jersey like if you travel a lot and you get those bumper stickers where you've been.
Yeah.
So his jersey got all. His jersey got all some. So I don't know. Like, and I hear a lot of people talking about. I do think that people are going to be bandwagon now. Now they're going to like the Lakers,
of course.
But you would say Laker fans are just like Cowboy fans. Yeah. They're born and they die that way.
Yeah.
No matter what happens. Mm-hmm. So I just feel
true Laker fans.
Yeah, true Laker fans.
Right. Yeah. Because a lot of Warrior fans now are untrue Laker fans.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
The Laker fans remain after Kobe left.
Right. Yeah. So then we call them flakers.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think I only really got into basketball just recently because my son likes it so much, and so the only reason I really got into it because so I could converse with him about it, so I could be on his level with it. Mm-hmm. But what happened was I ended up liking it because at first I just got into it as a conversation point to connect with him. Mm-hmm. But I ended up falling in love with the NBA. Yep. So now my son's quoted stats and stuff. I'm like, oh God, dog, I gotta Google this. Yeah. So now it's this big topic with us. What happened with LeBron? I told him, after this championship, I said he leaving. And my son was like, I don't know. I said, bro, he leaving. And then when he did leave, I sent him a text that said, we're going to spell Lebron to LABRON.
That's right.
He became LeBron.
LeBron. Yeah. LA-Bron. Yeah. And so this is my thing. I've been a LeBron fan since he came into the league.
Yeah.
Right.
2003.
2003 with his first stint with Cleveland. Right. And I'm actually old school Miami Heat fan.
Okay.
And the way I became a Heat fan was through video games. It's like I choose all my sports teams through video games. Right. So I don't have a favorite baseball team yet because I don't play baseball video games.
There you go.
So if I ever was to play a baseball video game, I'm sure that I would find a team that I liked, and then I would start to watch them in real life. Mm-hmm. So that's how I became an Eagles fan. Yeah. And I'm still an Eagles man. Hey. I'm even more of an Eagles fan now.
Yeah, right.
Right. But I've been an Eagles fan for a long time, and I became a Miami Heat fan through NBA Live '99 with Tim Hardaway, Rashawn Leonard, Alonzo Mourning, and all them were still playing, and so that was my team on the game. And so when he made the transition to come with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to Miami, I fell in love with Bron even more. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And so when he went back to Cleveland, it was kind of like a relief for me regarding his legacy, right? Even more so when he was able to deliver the championship that he promised to bring them from the beginning.
Yes.
And so after he delivered the championship, regardless of how many straight finals appearances he made, regardless of his stats of usage and efficiency or whatever the case may be, regardless of the greatest of all time conversation.
Oh, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I knew that at this point, the decision that he was going to make this time was literally all about him and his family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you ask me, I think probably his wife and kids, and probably his mom, more so than anything that he personally wanted, played a major role in his decision.
Yeah.
And I think, and I honestly do believe that this is the last stop. Mm-hmm. When he get ready to retire, he probably gonna sign a 1-day contract with Cleveland,
right?
So he can retire Cavalier. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, and I think there were some other things that kind of led him to wanting to go. When you look at the fact that you got Magic Johnson as your president of basketball operations over who in Cleveland,
right?
Like I don't even know. I would have to use my phone to figure out who the GM is now. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And the consistent lack of ability to surround him with young, competitive talent.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? To be able to compete for a championship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I honestly do believe that he was good. He was good.
Yeah, he was good.
Until Kevin joined the Warriors. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But not just him now.
Yeah. Everybody was good.
Everybody was good. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody was good. But when that move happened, it kind of put everybody on guard. Mm-hmm. And now all you see is teams trying to put together talent to be able to compete.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I think because he's been so great at his craft over the past 8, 9, 10 years, that we just kind of expect to see him there.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Even last year when nobody really expected him to get there,
right.
we kind of expected him to get there, that he was going to go. And so, and nobody really ever didn't, even though they got swept, it was a more competitive sweep than people really gave it credit for. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, I just believe that at this juncture, it's really about him elevating his game to the next step. Because with him being, I think he's 33? 32, 33, something like that. So he'll be 34 in the upcoming season. I mean, playing basketball at that age.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's easy when you take super soldier serum like that.
right. And so I think he's in a place where he's gonna be surrounded by talent. People who can compete. People who can, if I pass you the ball, I can knock a shot down. You understand what I'm saying? Or at least create a shot for you. In this case, I don't necessarily expect him to be as ball dominant as he has been in the past. Right, you understand what I'm saying? And so, and I don't think the Lakers are necessarily finished making the moves that they're going to make this offseason or next year, 2019, to acquire the talent that they want to be to compete for a championship.
I'm interested to see how they look after the All-Star break.
Yeah, right. And so my thing is now is that since he moved from the East to the West, you have to shift your thinking from is he, making it to the finals to, whoever wins the Western Conference Finals at this point is pretty much slated to win the NBA championship. I think that's how people are thinking now. Now the other thing too is now that Danny Ainge is building a monster. Over there in the East with the Celtics. And so right. And so if whoever out of the West, Houston, San Antonio, the Lakers, or Golden State, whoever can come out of that battle, if you will, I mean, they got to face their young and upcoming, and it's more than likely going to be fully charged Boston team with Kyrie, Gordon Hayward, and then you got your trio of young challenge with Jason Tatum, Brown.
They're gonna be nasty.
And then, man, what are you saying? So it's gonna be interesting to watch, man, to see how everything unfolds. But just speaking about LeBron in general, what I'm interested in seeing is how he's going to make an adjustment to his game. And to be, to be able to see him playing off the ball like he did when Kyrie was in Cleveland. To see him, running the floor on a 3-on-2 fast break and being able to get the alley from the point guard and so forth and so on, that's going to be interesting to see. Being able and hopefully having somebody alongside him who can maintain or get buckets and allow him to get minutes on the bench, quality minutes on the bench to get rested up so that he doesn't have to play 46, 48 minutes in the first 2 rounds. That's what I'm, it's one thing for you to play those type of minutes in the finals. But for you to have to play those type of minutes to get to the finals.
After he played every game in the regular
right, exactly. You see what I'm saying? So that's
super soldier.
That's wild.
So for me, this has concreted my dislike for one franchise. So I got into the NBA, I guess it was probably around 2008, 2009. This is, back when the Celtics had their big three and Kobe had Gasol and them, that rivalry had, kind of resurfaced. And so back then, I'm from Atlanta, so I always tend to root for the Atlanta teams. I'm definitely Falcons fan all day, but with the NBA, I was just getting into it, really.
It's kind of hard to be a Hawks fan.
I
got Trae Young though.
Well, so what happened was, I think it was 2011, or it was the same year that Derrick Rose won the MVP. And I saw him, and I saw the Bulls, the team he was on, and I was like, oh man, I love watching this team. Like they were real contenders, man. They were, sharing the ball, playing hard defense. Derrick Rose doing his thing. I was like, yeah. And then, my dad's from Chicago, so I was like, maybe I think I want to root for the Bulls. I was a Jordan fan anyway. Just Space Jam, all that. Yeah. Right. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna root for the Bulls. So I was caught between this three-way. I would say I root for the Hawks because I like Atlanta. I root for the Bulls because I like the way they play, and I root for the Celtics in the playoffs because I like. I don't know. It's just something about the Lakers I did not like. Just like the coach. I don't know.
Yeah, and I can agree with you on that because I've never really been a Lakers fan, and I couldn't stand Kobe Bryant. I'm just gonna be real about it. Like I respect his greatness.
Sure,
you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But I feel about Kobe how most people feel about LeBron.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, I was a Jordan fan. I love Michael Jordan. You understand what I'm saying? Was never a Bulls fan, but I was a fan of Jordan. And the same regard. Yeah. So I'm just as torn with LeBron going to the Lakers as Laker fans are with LeBron going to the Lakers. You see what I'm saying?
But for me, I'm not torn because I ultimately decided I'm going to ride Bulls. I don't want to keep jumping between teams.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I'm a Bulls fan. All right, we can do this. They can go to the playoffs. I think they got to the Eastern Conference Finals playing LeBron, his team, and I think was that the year Derrick Rose had the ACL.
I can't remember. I had to do some serious research to find out.
Well, anyway, after that injury, we just had the hardest time. We never beat LeBron and the Heat or whatever team he was on. I think it was the Heat.
It was the Heat, baby.
Yeah. And I was just like, man, I do not like this guy. It's just like. And of course, I really started paying attention to LeBron after, the decision where he went to Miami and, everybody's burning his jersey. I'm like, this guy must be unscrupulous. Yeah. So it's like I said, I definitely respect him as a player. He is definitely he is the best player on the planet right now. Mm-hmm. Kevin Durant coming up behind him at second. But and I like what the Slim Reaper, and I even follow LeBron on Instagram because I like him as an off court person. But as an NBA fan,
you can't make yourself like him. And I was talking to somebody, and they told me that people are not going to really receive him or accept him until he's gone, because at that point he's no longer a threat to any of our teams and things of that nature. So they're not gonna be able to appreciate the body of work that he's done until he actually retires and leaves the NBA. So, but it comes with the territory. I think it was the same way with Jordan because New York fans, Pistons fans, Pacers fans, they could not stand Mike, man, because during his 6-year reign, nobody got. I mean, he's still the reason Charles Barkley does not have a ring. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, he did his thing, man. So, I'm just interested to see, man, in the West. Yeah, I think that's to see him West for sure. I know to see him competing in the West. Yeah. For a season for the foreseeable future. Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see, because most people say that the only reason that he was so dominant in the East was because the East is so soft. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that played a part in his decision too. I do not think he considered going to another Eastern Conference team. I think part of him wanting to go to the West to be able to show his critics that just like I rule the East, I can rule the West. But he gonna have to get past
the Avengers.
Yeah.
Especially since they got Boogie.
If he is Thanos James.
That's right.
He gonna have to get past Curry and the Avengers. Right. So, man, it's gonna be interesting. I think we got time for one more topic. It's a topic that's near and dear.
Yes.
To our hearts.
Yes, it is. Very near.
It's anime. And I think all of us have memories on when we were introduced to anime for the first time. I can actually remember as a young cat watching the original Dragon Ball series and not really understanding and knowing what I was watching.
Trying to follow.
Yeah. But when I got older, I can remember on campus when Toonami used to come on at about 3 o'clock.
That was real, bro.
3 o'clock.
That was real.
And 4 o'clock, man.
You went to class at that time.
We'd be getting out about 3 o'clock class.
Right.
Dinner in the cab started at 4.
Yeah.
From 4 to 4:30, there were no dudes on campus. The girls would be like, man, where are guys at? We were in the dorm in front of a TV, man, watching Dragon Ball
for that next episode.
And I can remember how crazy it was on campus when Gohan finally went Super Saiyan.
I know.
It's like one of the most classic.
Yeah.
So we were in this discussion, we were just kind of with that tone, with that tenor, if you will, of the conversation. What is it that us as black people, why are we so obsessed with anime culture?
You know, I think that this just came to my head just right this second. I think one of the reasons why we're so drawn to anime as a culture is because most times in anime storylines, underdog wins.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm a huge proponent for the underdog.
As blacks,
as minorities.
Yeah.
I mean, even in sports, I cheer for the underdog. I cheer for the person who has the odds stacked against them. So
that's a good point. Because it's like the main character just typically doesn't start off as the most powerful person.
No, he's not. Yeah,
unless it's one.
He's always
one man punch.
He's
always the weakest.
Always the one. Nope, everybody looks over.
Right.
You know, everybody sees any value in, and it's also the aspect of power. Like a lot of anime shows have these characters with supernatural abilities, or giant robots they fight in. This is like. The underdog has attained an ability to overcome his circumstances.
Right.
It's almost to a point where when you see anime for the first time, like we get this new series, we watch the first episode, maybe first 2 episodes. You look at the one that's most downtrodden. You know, that's one. Mm-hmm. That's one gonna kill this whole series.
Mm-hmm. Like the weakest character.
Yeah,
like Naruto was built on that.
Oh yeah, it sure was.
In every fight, especially with him against the villain, it always came down to, hey, I will not. You will not beat me.
Right.
Just will in general. And
even with Goku, he died in Dragon Ball Z. He died in the first fight.
He did.
He did. Hey, Goku took a lot of L's. He took a lot of L's.
But it was that excitement of seeing him, training in the other dimension and coming back even stronger. And then defeating.
Trying to figure out, how did he get so strong so fast?
Right.
That type of
and people be surprised.
So
I think really my first brush with anime, the first time I ever got exposed to it was, I'm talking about way back. I went to, because I used to have, my mom used to let me go to Blockbuster when it was a Blockbuster. And,
rest in peace.
Way back.
So my mom would let me get my allowance money, and I'd go and get some movies. Mm-hmm. So I get movies enough to carry me out through the weekend. And I found an anime called Giant Robo. That's 80s.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, that was the first anime I ever saw. Giant Robo led me to once Voltron came on TV.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I had a precursor because I had Giant Robo, and I found out that Giant Robo was a precursor to Voltron. Yeah, he was like but I just remember as a kid looking at it, going like, once I saw Giant Robo, I just was like, this stuff is like not like anything else I've seen. Like, it's not. And then I used to, the action was so good. Like, the action was so suspenseful, and it was so different from American cartoons.
The storytelling is
off the chart.
Unparalleled. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
And to a point now, when you look at American cartoons now, they're very much bodying that.
Yeah.
They had to embrace that because
it was selling like hotcakes.
It was killing them. Yeah. But see, my problem now is, this is a different aspect of anime. The dangers it has, as far as if I'm a Christian parent, what kind of ideals do I want my kids to have, and how does the anime affect it?
Yeah,
because one thing that got like, okay, let's talk about Inuyasha. Inuyasha walks you into the Japanese perception that there are good demons and bad demons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So then you got these implications of afterlife. Yep. And so that started playing a lot when you get deep into anime. That's there. It's right there. It's in your face. So then you have, did research on Pokemon, and had the guy who invented Pokemon was anti-Christian.
Right.
Because, so his revolt, or his rebellion towards his Christian parents was create these characters that fuse natural things to oppose the story of Genesis. Like God made these creatures, but wouldn't it be cooler if we could fuse these creatures? So he kind of created this thing. He kind of created Pokemon as a rebellion to what his parents were driving into him.
Right. Yeah.
So knowing that kind of stuff, as a parent, I think to myself, I gotta make sure that my kids know how it really is before I let them get deep into stuff. So I sat down with my kids, told them that this is what Pokemon came to be. So when I told them that, my kids put out Pokemon. They threw all their cards away. For 2 years. They didn't engage Pokemon whatsoever. At all. Yeah. But then after that, 2 years later, they came back to me. Because my kids are their own political party. So the head speaker came to me. He said that we want to get back into Pokemon again because we know who God is. We know who He is, know why He does what He does. So he said we think we can.
And you know
now.
What? I think that doesn't just carry over. That carries over to everything we expose ourselves to, and our children to, in culture. Period. In society, period, especially in entertainment. Yeah. Because there's in order to kind of make it more relative to today, a lot of animators or TV producers, they put things in what would traditionally be comic book storylines that are relative to the 21st century today. Yeah. And so they're from drugs, sex, homosexuality, everything. Yeah. You find it. You find all of those things pretty much in all levels of TV culture. And they're just as huge in anime. I was watching My Hero Academia. Yeah. And I was looking at the little grape-head boy. Oh. And how pervy. He's so pervy. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm like, and so this is what, it takes me back to this thought that I had. A lot of people who are not, let's say they're not in the anime culture, because it's animated. Yeah. They write it off as children's fare. Yeah. Right. That's for kids. A grave mistake. And so if you turn it on and allow your kids to watch it without you understanding what this culture is, you could be potentially exposing your children to things that
you don't agree with.
Right, that you don't agree with, or you weren't ready for them to be exposed to. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's important. It kind of takes us off on a tangent a little bit, but it made me think about what you said. It's very important to make sure that we screen what our children are watching and doing. You understand what I'm saying? Because, I never thought that I would have a fear of having certain conversations with my daughter or son when they get to a certain age. But if you don't, the world will. And you definitely don't want the world to shape their mindset. But then I also don't want to be on the other extreme to make them think like everything is just completely bad. I want you to have a good understanding through a Christian lens, a true Christian lens, not how the world sees Christian lens, which is not accurate whatsoever.
It's kind of like you have to balance how you deal with your kids. You don't want to put them in a bubble, but you do want them to have their own interaction with Christ, their own unique interaction with Christ, so they can develop their own filter. You don't want to give them the filter. You want them to be able to develop their own filter.
They wouldn't be able to use your filter either.
I know, right?
You understand what I'm saying?
And in a lot of cases, because your filter they won't. Because your filter they won't use. Right. Because a kid, you can tell the kid your way can be right, and the kid will go left because you went right. No, that's how that goes. Right. But that's a balance.
That's funny. That reminds me of I guess I was like 4 or 5 whenever Power Rangers came out. Yeah. I think it was like 1993.
You were 5 when Power Rangers came out?
I was born in 1990.
I remember rushing home to get to the TV 3:30 after school to watch Power Rangers when it first came out.
I remember I was a Power Ranger nut, like fanatic. Like that's my profile picture on Facebook now. I got to meet the Red Ranger.
Right.
But I remember like my mom telling me when I was a kid, and I remember like arguing with her, and I can only imagine what that looked like as a 5-year-old. But she was like she didn't want me to watch it because I guess it was violent, and got weird looking stuff on it because that's from Japan as well.
Right.
I thought back a while ago. I was like, that was my first exposure to Japanese culture. I think watching Power Rangers. But I remember like trying to reason with her on it, like I think Power Rangers go to church.
Wow.
It's all right. Because of course back then to me, like going to church,
and they live in Angel Grove.
Yeah, that's right. But she let me watch it still. I'm thinking like, oh, that actually worked. But I don't know. It's just like. I was not gonna stop watching it because I was so enamored with it. Like that was, the fighting, the giant robots.
Man, that was it back then, man. If it had karate in it, I was sold, man.
But like with anime, just like the fascination we have with it. And I think back to we were talking about the Transformers, how they were made. Basically through the toy interactions between toy companies in America and Japan. And, not long after, they're recovering from World War II. Us basically dropping a bomb on them. And they have to recover from that. That was a huge impact on them. But, they kind of turned it around, being the proficient or efficient culture they are. And basically what happened was we sent them G.I. Joe, I believe, and they turned it into like a robot man. And then eventually the robot man was able to transform from a car to a functioning humanoid robot. And then they sent that back to us, and that's when we got Transformers. But I was thinking, I never really took into consideration the aspect of war. Like, what World War II had on them. And, how that affected their relationship with us.
Right,
and it's like...
It's amazing that we even have the relationship that they are good.
It is.
Now. So,
and we're so close, but also there's always going to be that, they dropped the bomb on us. It's like they went from a superpower in their own right to a weaker power, like every other country that didn't have an atomic bomb. But they took it the worst because they provoked us at Pearl Harbor and then paid a dear price for it.
They paid a price for it.
But not to say I don't want to get into war and politics and all that, but I think there's something born out of adversity like that. Definitely. Like with Black culture, of course. Like I think I was talking about to my friends about the other day. There's a sense of a great amount of creativity and, things we produce, things we're able to do, like especially in music and art, that comes from the suffering we've endured as people.
You got to make me think about the incense, man. You can't get the fragrance of the sweet smelling fragrance
until it's
taking a beating till you break it down.
That's right.
So I definitely agree with that. That tribulation, adversity, struggle. It's the same thing with weightlifting.
Yeah, right.
You understand what I'm saying? Your muscles will not get stronger unless they endure a certain level of breakdown and resistance. So it's got to be there. You got to have it. In order for things to come forward. So once again, looks like our conversation has run its course, and so as usual, we're just gonna seal this episode, this conversation in prayer. And I'm gonna ask Brother Armstrong to close us out on today.
The strong arm.
Yeah, Brother Strong Arm to close us out.
Okay, let me go get my brother. All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for your grace and mercy in it. Without you just loving us in that way, we couldn't even make it. So I just thank you, God, for being consistent with us and being ever merciful towards us. And I thank you for this opportunity to just discuss with my brothers here. It's always an enjoyable time, great laughter, and even, in-depth things we can talk about that have substance to them, Lord. No, we're not just talking about nothing. And I just thank you, God, for always being in it. And I just pray that, like Tommy said before, that we impact somebody with this, or, we're even edified one another, in this, and that your purpose would be made manifest in the earth. And I just thank you, God, for the outlet of social media, podcasting, and all that technology, and giving us the right minds to use them, for the gospel and for edification, building each other up. And I just pray that that's what it's accomplished. In the name of Jesus Christ, I give thanks and pray. Amen.
Amen. Right, before we go, we just want to thank everybody for tuning in, everybody that's supporting us, that's liking our page, sharing, commenting. We really thrive and would like to see more feedback. So if we could just get everybody to like us on Facebook, follow us. Also, we have a YouTube channel now. You can go to YouTube and search for Good Medicine. Search for the logo with the 3 faces, 3 handsome faces. And just subscribe to our page. We have big plans, and we truly intend on bringing you all more content and just talking about the issues that everybody's talking about or that nobody is talking about. Mm-hmm. And so before we sign off today, we just want to say thank you all so much for supporting us. Please share us with your friends, your family, your loved ones, those that are important to you, your co-workers, everybody. Just put it out there for people to listen to on their drive to or from work, or at home while they're cleaning out their refrigerators, all of that, or while they're trying to get the possums out of their closets. So,
harder than it sounds.
Signing off with Carlos Taylor and Devon Armstrong. This is your boy Tommy Knowles. Until next time, peace.